queen at her coronation, I feel beautiful when my son looks at me. And yet in his eyes I see you. Beautiful, majestic, godly, black. And uncertain of what true love is, there isn't a fantasy of my love for you. I can't tell you a beautiful love story that'll make you believe in love again. Instead, I can give you the story of my life. My first love, first boyfriend, first kiss, first broken heart is my son's father, and that bothers me more than I let on. Oftentimes I spend hours thinking of you and having imaginary conversations about our son, but then the sun comes up and I realize I've wasted another day living in the past. When we are teenagers holding hands in hallways, there's always something else I could be doing, but I find myself living in those moments when my son smiles at me. There's a difference in my love for you. There's a bottomless pit of hurt and unspeakable pain, and I'm ashamed of my role in the awkwardness that exists between us. The fact that our communication has resorted to random text messages of surface greetings, the good morning queens and great rising kings. While cute, they shoot me in my gut every time they come through. It's like saying, let me speak so I can keep the peace, knowing good and well that we're on the brink of war. Fighting for our future, I see error in all of this. The broken family before becoming a family. The I love him but only saw him twice in his entire life. But if I'm being completely honest with myself, without overthinking, but perhaps overanalyzing, I'm still trying to overcome the fact you didn't want him or me to be, and something inside me wishes I could make your wish come true. Because who wants to be somewhere they're not welcome? So I don't call anymore. I only respond to text just to keep the war from breaking out today. Just to say, hey, I was checking on you. Because I haven't heard from you in a while, or call me when you get some free time, and that time never being worth it. Because the cash apps keep coming through. So I shouldn't have nothing to say, or I guess I should just be okay with you being a provider, because that's what men are supposed to do, right? Because the emotional neglect today is cheaper than the therapy we never get. Because it's easier to move on when you don't have to look your son in his eye or his mother in hers. Because obligation love isn't the same as unconditional love. Trust me, I know that one all too well. It's as deep as the earth's core, because I love you that way. And that may be why I just rather not. I just rather stop. I just rather God show me how to stop loving you. Because today is just not a good day for a war to begin. Because I gladly stand on the front line. Because love is worth fighting for. But then again, why bother going to war when I could just love again? Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That is really beautiful. Like I was telling Taekwondo, that's a hard hit. That's coming from the soul, deep down in the soul of a woman, you know? A woman that is passionate and understanding, you know, to life for the child and father, and as a mother, expressing the deep depth of the heart, you know? Soul power, baby. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
That's real. It's real.
Thank you.
That's really beautiful. So You know, I know that's going to be beautiful for you. You know, for those that understand that where it's coming from. You know, that's soul power.
The older I get, the more I realize that I don't know shit about being a woman, a mother, a lover. A father of 6 has never been the reason I stayed around. I couldn't find peace in a piece of a man that was never meant to be with me in the first place, but second place will do. So I don't blame him. I took aim at them. I really owe them an apology for not being 100% me or even working on me. Showing up half human because the other side is godly and I hadn't got to know my father in that way, so I wasn't shit. And I ain't the victim in this. I'm the powerful one. Misusing my authority of who I allow to have access to me. Setting boundaries is as important as building an empire with no security. Anything can get in and anything can get out of hand. Like being a mother to a 14-year-old that's turning 15 minutes into a full therapy session. My challenge is looking at my daughter and praying for God to give me all her hurt and pain. Just save my daughter is my daily prayer. But I'm still a mother, and I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I'm juggling, knowing I have to do better with changing diapers, running multiple businesses, dropping off and picking up from school, eating healthy and breaking generational curses. But did I tell y'all that I'm the first millionaire in my family? On my way to $1 billion. This is me prophesizing my future. Using my gifts to make room for me is me walking in the divinity. I am great. I still have things that I'm working on. So I gotta keep writing these poems, singing my Negro spirituals. And to my inheritance is feeding the great-grandchildren I have yet to meet. My eyes are beyond me now. It's how I knew this moment would happen. How I knew you'd cross me. How I knew you'd come back to me. I'd be that good thing that prophets wrote about. Even in my flaws, the beauty of my reflection is the fact that I'm not trying to hide them. I'm using them. Showing up 100% me in all my dopeness. You can't fuck with me even if you fucking me. I make chess pieces out of these niggas. And that's too bad, because I make kings too. To be volatile, individually and collectively. And it's amazing how, you know, we can look at a movie or something and see a functioning family, and we know that's the right way. But in our lives, we do everything contrary to that, you know. So it's me like knowing that I know my love for you, but I know that can't override the relationship you need to have with your son. Yeah. So I have to put my pride to the side, you know? Yeah. It's some shit I just won't say. It's some things I just won't do, you know? And it killed me. It literally breaks my heart. But what do you do with that? I've done it, you know?
All right, we back. Bottom Up Podcast, and y'all know I'm your host, Serica. This is where we talk about all things black culture, black history, black people, black excellence. Y'all tuned in tonight for a very important episode. Listen, we got a special guest here, and it is none other than the former state rep here in Pompano. Listen, all things Pompano, all things hyper local. Y'all tune in. Get your notepads out. We got a lot to talk about, but you already know before we get started, we give you something to think about. Y'all check it out. I'll see you in a minute.
But it's a lack of media literacy. Like, we don't question what we see. So it brings me to this idea that we have to get to a point where we're really doing our due diligence about making sure what we're listening to is a trusted source. Here, episode 68, you have 68 episodes. 75 plus hours of me speaking, not to mention the videos and things that I put out on TikTok, Instagram, right? Of consistent dialogue, consistent rhetoric about imploring empathy into the black community, holding black men accountable because we are men, and engaging in revolution, which I have said the revolution is love. Once we start loving each other, I hold you accountable out of love, not out of hate. I'm trying to implore thought processes that make us better as men. If we are going to be in community, because in that community is women, is children, is transgender, is gay, is black people from all walks of life, every generation, every class. That's what I advocate for. A healthy black community, not just black men. There's enough of that. There's enough organizations centered around only black men. And what are they doing to improve the community? Have we seen the fruit of that? We've seen it work on a religious level for some and change the lives of those men. But instead of going out into the community imploring love and empathy, they're imploring an ideology that turns people off. I don't want to have to think like you for me to receive love from you, for me to receive empathy from you, for me to be in community with you. We shouldn't think the same when it comes to ideology. The thought process should be, we're all in the same community and we put ourselves first. Man, woman, child, LGBTQ, disabled, broke, rich, middle class, all of it. But we have all these guardrails up. Even in the Bible, let's go to the Bible. Go to Proverbs. How is wisdom described? Wisdom is described in the Bible as a woman. So you could just argue with God about that. Hold God accountable. I understand being reluctant to media. I understand being reluctant to black media because we got things that we call media, which is really propaganda. Shade Room, Zeus Network, clear propaganda, clearly reinforcing harmful and negative stereotypes about black Americans specifically. But it's run by the Nigerians. Goddamn Nigerians.
Goddamn scammers.
Goddamn Nigerian scammers always get us. God damn it. God damn it. They get us every time. The Nigerians got our number.
Yeah.
All right, we back. Listen, Deontay Kyle, if you don't know the Grits and Egg podcast, tune in. I think this is a podcast that all black people should be listening to. He is probably one of the great philosophers of our time, and he gets me to thinking, challenges my thoughts. So if you don't know, tune in now. I'm putting y'all on to something, okay? I got a special guest here, and I already told y'all. We bring in heavy hitters, people that's gonna talk, people that's moving the needle, that's actually doing the work. And then we got none other than the state rep herself, Miss Patricia Williams. How you doing?
I am doing well.
Good to see you.
Doing well.
Good to see you. So, what did you think about Deontay Kyle and what he was saying?
Deep,
right?
Deep, yes,
right.
deep.
So, one of the things he says is like the revolution. He was talking about, he's always talking about black people in the revolution, and what he thinks the revolution is love, and holding each other accountable out of love, not hate. And I think that that's so important that he broke that down like that, because a lot of times when we try to hold each other accountable, we call it hating. You hating, or you got a problem with me. Like, no, if you're doing something wrong, as my brother and my sister, I got to be able to tell you,
absolutely,
you wrong.
Absolutely. And another point that he brought out that I am holding on to is that we are all individual thinkers.
Right.
We're never all going to be on the same page.
Right.
And if you feel everybody is going to be on that same page of you all the time, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. And it's not, I think it's a good thing that, we're having more conversations. We have these podcasts and these people thinking about how we think and how we should move. But it's not a lot of these types of conversations being pushed. It's more of the, negativity, the fighting, the violence.
We need to be against each other.
Yeah, no, like we're geniuses. We have a level of excellence that's untapped. And we got to tap into it. So, shout out to brothers like Deontay Kyle that's pushing the needle forward to make us think as black people and how we should show up in the world.
Absolutely.
All right. So listen, I invited you here, former state rep, to really start diving into some conversation that needs to be had around politics, around community, around Black people, and how we should show up specifically in our hometown. You know, Carver's home, right?
Absolutely. All day, yes.
Carver's home. Parkway East here. So we have history and roots in Pompano, and there's a lot happening in Pompano. A lot happening.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to jump right into it because we ain't got that much time and we need to get a lot out. The first thing I want to touch on, Patricia, is what is your role right now when it comes to the downtown project in Pompano?
Okay. Before I actually give you the role, let me back up and tell you how did I receive the role.
Okay.
On the night that the city of Pompano was voting on the contract, I just happened to be home from Tallahassee sitting in the audience. I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't know anybody that was there, the other developer, nor this developer that received the contract. Before the vote went out, the other developer got up and went to the mic and withdrew his name from the list.
Right.
So
I
when
remember
you only
that.
have two people in the race and one withdraw their name, the other person win the contract by default.
Right.
And that's what happened. So after the vote went out, it went on a discussion because some of the commissioners on the dais wanted the other contractor, other developer that pulled his name off. But if you pull your name off, there's no discussion that should have took place. He's no longer a factor.
Right. Why do you think that discussion took place?
Well, when you put all your eggs in one basket and you're dependent on one person all the time,
Yeah.
you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. The other group was related, urban related group. And they're also the developer group that was building Wynwood. And I have a colleague of mine that did a documentary on the work they did in Liberty Square. It's actually called Raising Liberty. And I recognize one of the Milo, the guy who came to do, I recognize him from that documentary and how they were engaging with the community. And it wasn't a pleasant documentary. It was more so talking about climate gentrification and what happened with that project. I'm bringing that up because you are working with one of the developers, well, actually the chosen developer.
The master developer.
The master developer.
And once the vote went out, I went over to him, meaning the developer. I introduced myself as your state rep because at that time I was the state representative. And I explained to him as of November, I would be no longer the state representative and I would love to be able to have a conversation with him to hear his thoughts of the downtown.
Right.
Born and raised in Pompano, a new development coming, I wanted to be able to have a conversation with him. And he opened it with open arms.
Yeah. You live in Pompano.
Born and raised, yes I do.
You're currently a resident, right?
I moved back to Pompano for a purpose.
Right. Well, you were in Lauderdale Lakes. So you were in Lauderdale Lakes and you served as a commissioner and vice mayor. So you're no newbie to this political.
Just a little bit.
You're just a little bit. I overheard a story at one point that how did you get involved? So who got you involved to be in politics? I overheard this story, so yeah. I want to know more. What happened with that?
Pat Larkins gave me my first checks.
Really?
As a city commissioner, I saw the opening coming, and some of the commissioners had a conversation with me. So I knew the person, Pat Larkin. I knew he was involved in politics. I didn't know any others because I was not involved. I had a big mouth, and I always spoke up for the children. So I went back to home and I spoke to him about it. And he said, no, not yet.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean not yet? No, not yet.
Yeah.
I talked to you about it later. So, but some chosen words was in between.
Right.
No, not yet.
Right.
So I went back to Lauderdale Lakes and I watched the commission meetings a couple more times, and I went back to him and I said, is it time now? He said, no, not yet. No, not yet.
How many no, not yets did you get?
3 times.
Three.
No, not yet.
Oh, wow.
And when the fourth time, he said, you know what, you are so persistent, and I hope you know what you're doing, but now is the time. And he handed me the envelope.
Wow. Pat Larkins. Listen, I never met him.
Yeah.
I never met Pat Larkins, and I've been very transparent about that, but I know he is still very much a big presence in the Pompano community, the city as a whole, not just the Northwest, the first black mayor and the only black mayor we've had in the city of Pompano. And Pat Larkins his name carries weight.
That's true.
His name still now, it carries weight. There's been conversation in the community, and one of the big controversial issues that we're talking about is the Pat Larkins Center.
Right.
I want to hear your thoughts on that. And as being someone who's known Pat, Pat encouraged you to run, gave you your first check. Gave you your first check to get the campaign going. I like to hear from people like that, because now when we're talking about his legacy and keeping it going and moving forward, and now the Pat Larkins Center, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have twofold on the thoughts. First and foremost, the family of the late great Pat Larkin, Pat Larkin. No one had that conversation. Everybody want to tell what they think it should be, but nobody had that conversation with the family about the Pat Larkins Center and how do they actually feel
the
about
family
it.
Well, the wife and so are we saying the wife and the entire family, or the family far as all of them collectively?
I'm thinking all of them collectively.
Okay.
Nobody had that conversation with them about their wishes about the center itself.
Right.
Now Pat done a lot, an awful lot for the black people in Pompano. He was a person that he didn't mind being the voice for the people. He didn't mind getting in their faces. He didn't mind telling them how he think. He didn't mind being a person that was always being able to go across the tracks, quote unquote, as we would say, and work with people that don't look like us to get things done for the city of Pompano.
Right.
And he was a person that said what he mean and meant what he said. And people respected him because he was there. He may not say it the way that you and I want to hear it.
Right.
But he was going to get the point across what he was telling you.
All right. Shout out to Constance Johnson, Parkway East in the house. Pat is such a big person right now. So the center, there's the family discussion, right? On the last episode, I read the letter that I received from the family. How was that letter obtained? And what was the conversation with the family to even come up with that letter?
Well, I arranged for the family to be able to speak with the master developer.
So they hadn't talked to the master developer?
No, they hadn't talked to anybody. Nobody from the city, not the commissioners, not the developer. I set the meeting up.
Okay.
Along with Terry Williams, set the meeting up so that the family would have the opportunity to talk to the developer about their wishes of the center itself.
So, okay, because I'm hearing some stuff for the first time. So the developer was the first person that talked to them, not from the city, not the CRA. Nope. The developer was the first person. So not even commissioners spoke to the family. Okay, so if they didn't speak to the family, there has been from the commission, the district commissioner speaking that the wife didn't want this.
Okay, well, if she did not want it, If you saw the letter, her signature is on that letter.
It is. We're going to get that letter up here while we're talking about it. And what I will say is that I did see Ms. Larkins come to the meeting. She came twice, right? The first time she came, and I'm not going to play the video because it's a trigger for me. I was like that whole week, I was toe up about that. Like, so I'm not going to play the video, but there was twice she came. The first time she came is saying not to tear down the building.
Okay.
So when she came and said not to tear down the building, what I didn't hear is that she had heard that the tearing down or the demolition of the building also meant another bigger building. It was almost like she took it that there was just not going to be anything with her husband's name on it. And that was my impression. So yeah, I can see that. We got the letter up here, and it speaks as the spouse, Betty Larkins, siblings, and family of the late E. Pat Larkins is honored to continue his legacy of community service and empowerment. In recognition of his enduring impact, we propose the development of a new E. Pat Larkins Community Center at the existing time. It goes on to talk about the center being approximately 20,000 square feet, flexible space, updated technology, modern amenities, and things that can provide support for education in the future generations, right?
Absolutely.
And I see all those signatures there. Okay, Ms. Larkins being there. You were at that meeting.
I was at the meeting.
How did this letter become to be generated, and what did the developer and the family speak about to get them to say, okay, yeah, we want a new center?
He explained it just like he's been explaining it since January. He was willing to build a bigger and better center for the community.
Okay.
Currently, there's 13,000 square feet at the Pat Larkins Center, and he is willing to do a 20,000 square foot building for the community with additional things that will actually help the community.
Right.
Currently, we don't have some of the things that they laid out. And this building will actually do that.
Right.
And as far as his name being on the building, it has always been stated that his name would be on a building. I don't know if it would have been the building that they wanted to build across the street because it was more space, but it still would have been part of the downtown development.
Right.
I don't know if it would have been on the next block, which would have still been the downtown project. The family asked that it stays on the corner where it is. That's what they said.
Well, so did they see the renderings?
They saw the picture.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I gave them one of the pictures that was actually there.
Who has that?
One of the sisters.
One of the sisters. Okay, and one of the sisters actually came down to the meeting. Well, actually, a couple of the family members came to the last commission meeting, and they spoke up, and we actually played that video so that people can see. Shout out to our YouTube watchers up there, the Adams brother and the Adams podcast. Shout out to you guys, and former Commissioner Cindy Floyd, Parkway East in the house. Listen, I want to make sure that everybody understands how these conversations have to be had in a way that transparency is there, and that there's not this narrative being painted that the family wants something or the community wants something, when actually, from hearing from you, the family wasn't even consulted about what they wanted to happen with that. So, I think the community needed to hear that, because from what we've been told is that the wife doesn't want this, hey, I beg the question for the community. And as my brother Deontay Kyle say, the revolution is love, so we got to start holding people accountable for love that we have for them. But also there's some truth and transparency that has to come forward. Okay, with that, also there is a video that I want to play. The commissioner now, Commissioner Perkins. I had a interview with her too.
Okay.
Actually, the interview with her is probably over a year and a half ago.
Very good.
Right? So I sat down with her. One thing I love to do is speak to everybody, whether I agree with you or not, conversation.
Absolutely.
I want to play this video because I want to talk about the commissioner and her advocacy for certain things that the community wants. So we're going to play that video. In this project, a $1.5 billion project, that's a lot of money. $1.5 billion, you already stated you want our piece of the pie. You want us to be included. What does that look like?
Well, I don't want to go into the details because what I did was formed a little committee to put together what we want in the project, and we've done that. But the most important part is this project is going to bring about 1,000 people in that project. You're going to have townhouses, apartments, and condos. So with that, I want to make sure we get some affordable housing in there and some workforce housing in there, so at least we can be living in that area. The other, I have about 10 to 15 different other things that we want to see in the project that I won't share right now, but you will be hearing about it in the next, I would say, 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
Well,
yeah,
so you don't want to give me no exclusive?
Well,
you don't want to?
It's a benefit for everybody, but we want to include in that project some of our pioneers and some of our former football players and some of the businesses that used to exist on Martin Luther King Boulevard, something that our kids can use to say they can go to school there, or HBCU, or some kind of vocational for the kids or for adults. We want all of that included in this project. So I have a very good relationship with the developer, Phil.
All right. So again, that interview was a year and a half ago, and I talked with the commissioner about a variety of things, and also that came up, which is the acts. I want to also bring up the list that she asked for. So we have that list. We're going to put it up here, but part of that list, it's important for me to, lay out the timeline for things. Okay. A year and a half, I met with the commissioner. She didn't share everything, but she shared some things. One thing she said, she put together a committee. Okay. I don't know who's on that committee. Fully, I've heard some names, but officially, I don't know who's on that committee. And I don't like to talk hearsay. I like to get it from the horse's mouth and or see it in black and white. And I haven't found either to speak of it. The original list, I think I just uploaded that one. So the original list that went out about what the commissioner was asking for on behalf of the community. Okay, a group of people working with the commissioner, they came up with this list. And she formulated this group. Okay. So the list I have here is an Pat Larkins Convention Center, seat approximately 3,000, designed to effectively meet the needs of the surrounding community, including conference room and ballroom. Educational component, there's a satellite branch campus, vocational, culinary, hospitality, Northwest Pompano History, Sports Hall of Fame Museum, a Pioneer Monument. These are things that she did mention in the interview. A historic business walkway, residential housing, 30%, commercial residential developer contractors. At the time, it was 30% of commercial developers and contractors must be Broward, CBE, and SBE certified. And a local preference points will be granted to firms securing financial partnerships establishing with small businesses within the Pompano Beach Northwest CRA. Resident tenant relocation and transition employment for 2 full-time consultant assisting with job placement, and a community charitable fund to grant empower community schools listed below, a Northwest nonprofit organization and homeless. Charles Drew Elementary, Charles Drew Family Resource Center, Crystal Lake Middle School, Markham Elementary, Palmview Elementary School, Sanders Park Elementary, daycare centers, District 4 and 5, private schools, District 4 and 5, Northwest Pompano nonprofit organizations, and homelessness. So this list is public information. You know, this isn't a secret G14 classified. This list was provided by the commissioner. It came up with the group that she had. Now, there are some terms that came out on May 14th. Remember, that was going to be the vote on May 14th to see about how this project moved together. It was the financing for the project. It was the infrastructure that was going to be needed, the additional amendments that were part of what the commissioner was asking for. In those terms, I want to highlight that per these conversations that the commissioner was having with staff in her negotiations, because the commissioner is the one that's negotiating on behalf of the community.
Okay.
That's true. That's true, right? So she's negotiating this on behalf of the community. So in there is, when it comes to Pat Larkins, it was to renovate the Pat Larkins, and it was to not exceed $1,500,000. Okay, that was in the. This is what is the terms that was going to presented on the 14th. Okay, Section 2 talks about the education component. There was a vocational training program, college resource center, and the space to be allocated was anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, standalone, to meet the commissioner and the group's ask of a vocational training and college resource center. Okay, Sports Hall of Fame, that's in there. The city will create a sports hall of fame to highlight sports professionals who were raised in Pompano Beach in either the new Pat Larkins Center or an alternative location. A pioneer monument to honor the pioneers and people in the community. And then the historic business walkway. That's in there. Businesses that were along Rock Road and Hammondville, honoring them. Residential workforce housing. There's a 15% of the residential entitlement in the downtown transit-oriented corridor. So pretty much the downtown, okay? 15% with a goal of 25% workforce housing, okay? Commercial and residential developer contractor projects, incentives. And it's important that we point out the fact that the incentives came about because the commission asked for incentives, being that now with our new federal mandates that minority cannot be put into contracts and certain verbiage and language. I'm not going to get into that. We got some legal people that we're going to bring in because I'm going to talk from my area of expertise. But there is incentives for the developer to meet certain thresholds as far as local community participation, minority participation, to get people and contractors involved in the project. And then there's also resident and tenant relocation, which the CRA already has a relocation policy that they follow. And then the job placement consultant. So we're committing to do that. There's also a community benefit funding, where I see here the developer voluntarily agreed to contribute $1 million to be utilized for distribution to schools and nonprofits by an escrow agent of the developer's choosing. Okay. There is a small business entrepreneurship incubator program, Civic's building financing, incorporation of additional project elements in the MDA. And then I did see, and I'm gonna skip to this because when I like to be very specific, there is a Northwest Neighborhood Authority. In addition to the developers voluntarily contributions described in section 10 above, the city and developer agreed to fund an additional $4 million to be utilized for eligible city CRA activities within the Northwest District. So it's a total of $5 million that would have gone into that. I read all that because people need to know
exactly what's there.
Exactly what was in there. Okay? So y'all hear our class that's going on in there. Candace got the financial literacy class going. They sound like they real happy to be learning about financial literacy and some money right here. Because I would be excited about that too. But that's what y'all hear, the financial literacy class that happens Thursday night with Legacy Financial Firm. So the commissioner, you all heard the video, right? What the commissioner said. I want to check off a couple things that what she asked for that's actually in there. Okay, listen. I'm just delivering.
Okay, you're delivering, but as an elected official, you cannot say I need money. Oh, you're requesting money from a developer, from a contractor. That means you're selling your vote.
Oh, okay.
And that's a thin line from going on one side or the other.
Okay.
Now, requesting things for your community, for your district, but saying I need money. A whole lot of people is gonna make a whole lot of money, and I need money. You're on thin ice, and I respect our commissioner to the utmost.
Right.
Okay, because she holds the title. That's her position.
And we do. I do.
To the utmost.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we as a people, when we accept positions, we need to be able to go to classes, learn how to do certain things, and certain things that you cannot do, don't do.
Right. I mean, you educate me on this because you're saying that a commissioner, an elected official,
You cannot sell your vote to the highest bidder. You can't sell your vote. You can't do that.
So explain selling the vote, because if she's asking for the money and
if you don't give me the money, the way it's coming off, if you don't give me the money, I don't vote for what you're requesting. And that's a no-no.
So I'm okay. What I'm wanting to know, how much money initially, which I know, but you work directly with the master developer. How much money was the master developer voluntarily giving?
I have not been in any of the meetings with Commissioner Perkins with this developer because it was requested that I not be a part of their conversation.
Okay, so explain your role with Roca Point, the master developer.
Okay, I'm the community liaison, preparing the road for when it's actually start to happen, make jobs available for my community, our community, the Northwest area, preparing those to be able to step into positions to actually get the jobs. Another thing that I see our commissioners, the one on that day, is you cannot tell people who to hire and who to not. That's not your role, that's not your job, and you're on thin ice. Now, I know that I heard last week that the attorney wrote a letter, and a couple of them was upset because of the letter that he wrote. But it's his job to keep them out of jail. It's his job to actually let them know when they're on thin ice.
Right.
I have been sitting in that same area. I sit there since January. Every commission meeting, I've been there. And I cringe on some of the things that they actually say and do.
Right. I want to play this video because we're talking about some things. Steph, I sent you a video, and I am bringing this up, playing the video, because as we're saying what someone said, one thing I like to do here is let people hear it from the horse's mouth. Okay? So, Steph, play the video. Play the video.
We've said that over and over again, and myself and a team submitted you a proposal last March or April. And you've taken this proposal and picked out what you wanted, such as a wall, walkway, and just a monument. And all of that, we've said that over and over again.
And there's another video we're going to play here, because in that video they're talking about what you just brought up. And when I say they, meaning the commissioner, because you just brought up the commissioner. And I gotta be transparent with people that these things, I'm in the meetings, I see them, but I don't want to ever say what somebody said, because I'm looking to gain and continue to gain the trust of my community. Here it is, Steph. I'm gonna send you this one because the one I sent you was cut off of what we needed to say, to capture rather. In the meantime, Patricia, I want you to talk with the people about, again, your role and how you have been working in the community. And then also, you said you were kept out of the meetings, but you're from the community and you're the liaison.
Yeah.
On behalf of the developer. I mean, people need to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Maybe we'll come back to it, but I'm gonna get it up. In the meantime, there's a video that says Patricia. We're gonna play that one because this video was actually you standing up and speaking at the last commission meeting. And it's important because actually it was the first time
I had said anything.
You had said anything. So this is a bit long now because I want to capture what happened in that time. So we're going to play that video for you guys.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, and City Manager. I am Patricia Williams, 1565 Northwest 7th Avenue. On last commission meeting, I think it was May 27th, if I'm not mistaken, the meeting was a vote was taken for the downtown financing. And I don't want my commissioners to be power-wise and penny-foolish. I am asking those that was on the prevailing side to reconsider and bring back the financing vote for reconsideration. And those that was on the opposite side of the prevailing side to actually reconsider your votes. $100 million for our community can do a lot to help out certain areas. The private financing would not lower the interest rate, nor would it save us money. So I'm asking those on the prevailing side to consider bringing it back and those on the opposite side to reconsider your vote. Thank you for your time.
Very good, thank you. Next speaker.
Mayor, could I comment on that?
Commissioner Smith.
I would like to make a motion to renew the motion to approve public financing for our downtown project.
Okay. Make a motion to renew the public. Mr. Berman?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. So is that appropriate at this point in time?
Yes, it's allowed under Robert's Rules. It's, I believe, Section 38 of Robert's Rules. It would be a motion to renew the motion. It would come on, if it's approved, on the next agenda, so the public has opportunity notice, and the clerk can do his notice as well. And it would be to renew the motion on second reading, so we would only have to do the second reading again.
So basically, it'll bring back the second reading of the public financing plan to an agenda, our next agenda.
Basically, it renews the motion to approve that item that was heard on second reading, yes.
Okay, so that's the motion, all right. Any discussion on the motion? Vice Mayor?
I have a question for Mr. Berman. There have been other times when we had a yes vote on the first reading and a no vote on the second reading, and you said it had to come back for both readings. Why in this case does it only need one reading?
Under a motion for renewal, it can be brought back. And it's a provision of Roberts. I don't recall, this is a specific motion that hasn't been used before. That's what the answer to your question, this methodology. It is one, there are different motions. Motion for reconsideration normally made at the same meeting. There's a motion to rescind. This is just another way to bring back something else, but you don't have to start from scratch with a motion for renewal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Further, Commissioner Fessick?
Well, I was wanting to address some of this as well, so this is apropos, I guess, Commissioner Smith. In light of some social media posts and things along those lines that I've seen where there's been a narrative shared with the city about something about the commissioners who are, who voted no related to the new town costing the city $100 million. I just want to say that I personally reviewed the downtown civic facilities financing numbers and including the whole structure of everything. I'm not an accountant, obviously, but I couldn't reconcile some of the base numbers provided, and I am going to be meeting with Ms. Sybil to do that later this month. I did want to point out that a local resident reached out to me, and she has a financial background, and she provided sort of an independent review, and her analysis confirmed the same thing that I was trying to figure out. The numbers just weren't adding up as they were presented. So that's the reason for my meeting with Ms. Sybil. The other portion of that, and I just want to address this, is there's far too many open-ended variables as part of this project. And so cost items, phases, estimates, there were not a lot of hard numbers or contractual caps. So basically, it kind of makes it impossible for somebody to justify a solid number at $100 million as it's been suggested. So given the scale of all the obligations and decades-long financial impact, I'd like to sort of add on to this and potentially make a request that we schedule a special meeting as soon as possible where we can have an independent financial expert not connected to the developer or existing finance team, that we can present these issues in detail so that we can have a clear explanation on public record moving forward that will help us answer those questions directly and help us resolve any discrepancies. So I would support your motion to bring it back as long as we are able to do that with a special meeting as soon as possible ahead of time. It's basically, and that's the thing, it's our duty to protect, the fiduciary duty to protect the public trust and ensure that we have transparency. And we have to avoid unnecessary risks and to future budgets. And so I would really just appreciate the support of adding to that if we bring it back, adding a special meeting so we can make sure we clear up any miscommunications ahead of time before we try to bring back a vote. So if I need to make a motion for that, I will, but I think there's already a motion. So.
There's a motion on the floor.
Right. So. So I can make, so I'd like to make a motion if there's to do that. But
Mr. Berman, is it appropriate to have another motion?
That's what.
If the motion is related to the main motion, I don't know if it was questioned as a amendment to the motion, or is this a subsequent or a second motion?
I would have to defer to you on that one.
It sounds like it's a separate motion, so we could.
It's because if we're going to bring this back, there was because there was not clarity, I just would like, it's attached somewhat.
Let me just ask the commissioner, with the mayor's permission,
Go ahead.
would you consider a meeting with the developer or CBRE and everyone else to answer any and every question that you might have to explain? And you can bring whoever, if you want to bring your auditor, your expert, whoever you wanted, we can get those questions answered for you or anyone you want, because this would go back on, I think, on the July 8th agenda. And we can meet with you before then. And I'm sure Ms. Sybil, not that I like to volunteer staff members or department heads, we can get you any answers that you want by that time.
Right, but the issue that I have is that the numbers that were presented publicly were not adding up, and so I'd like to do it, if at all possible, in a public forum. But I will also privately meet with Ms. Sybil before the next meeting.
Okay. It's a separate motion.
Okay.
To the mayor's question.
Okay, so you're making a motion that we hold some kind of a special meeting to review the numbers that Ms. Sybil presented before July 8th when this comes back?
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion. Is there a second?
Point of order, don't we already have a motion on the floor?
It's Mr. Burns said it's allowed. Is there a second to this motion?
Can we at least discuss the first motion before we move on to the second motion?
I'll second it, but
Oh, okay. It's been moved and seconded for Commissioner Fessick's motion to hold a special meeting prior to the July 8th meeting to review and discuss the numbers that Ms. Sybil has presented previously. Okay. Discussion on that particular motion? Sure. Commissioner Segerson-Eaton?
All right, yes, since I don't feel like I need an expert to tell me how to multiply and do math. You're going to borrow money for a house? You're going to borrow it at 8% and pay X amount of dollars over 30 years? Or would you rather borrow it for 5%? Or maybe even less, depending on what the prevailing interest rates are at the time? I don't think I need an expert to spell that out for me. That's pretty basic math. So in another special meeting, we've been talking about this for the last 4 months. You don't think that the 8% versus the 5% for the cost of the new city hall adds up to $100,000 over 30 years? You think the math's wrong? Because that's really what it is. It's math. And I was not on the prevailing, well, it was the 3-3, so it failed. But I'm all in favor of going for the lesser interest rate that cities have been able to do. And I just want to make an example of one. When we went out for the GO bond in 2018, Ms. Sybil estimated or did her calculations around a very conservative interest rate. I want to say around 5%, 5 or 6 even. And then was able to get those bonds down to around 2-3%, much, much less. Again, saving the taxpayers money that we can use elsewhere within the community.
If I could ask you to zero in on the motion at hand,
the motion at hand is: do I want to have have an expert tell me what is basic math? No. Don't want to sit through another 4-hour meeting regarding this? No, I really don't. I think we beat this horse to death. I mean, let's either put up or shut up. Thank you.
Sir, I'm gonna ask the gentleman in the gray shirt. Yes, you, sir. This is your first warning. Please be quiet. Thank you, sir.
And Mayor, I'm just going to have to respond and say one more thing. Do I want to pay 8% interest or 5% interest as the city's money, the taxpayers' money? It's a simple question. Do you want to pay more for your money or less? That's it. Obviously less, because it's your money.
Okay. Is that it, Commissioner?
That's it.
Very good. Further commission discussion on the motion. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I do appreciate Ms. Williams bringing this up, but I also find it a little puzzling that she did this given her role as a consultant to the developer. And I do appreciate you, but it seems a little strange to me to have, it feels a little orchestrated, if you will. but anyway, here's how I think about this. I have run cases in.
All right, so it was important for me to play that entire 12 minutes. The reason being, one, that conversation happened during the audience to be heard, which the city adopted that 30 minutes is allocated towards audience to be heard. That wasn't the end of that discussion. That was just 12 minutes from the time you came up and said your piece and then the discussion. And that time ate up all of the audience to be heard time. And I took this to the mayor. After that, I was like, listen, there were people coming out and saying they came to speak and they weren't able to speak. And, you know, he let me know, like, hey, the commission can speak. That's them. I'm saying this, that at least those 30 minutes, audience to be heard. Hear the audience.
Here's the audience.
Because you got the rest of the night. If you want to, we've been having 5 and 6 and 7 hour meetings to talk about everything, but that 30 minutes was ate up. So it was important for me to play that 12 minutes. And then at the end of it, Vice Mayor Foreigner spoke about you specifically.
Right. Now, let's call an ace a ace and a spade a spade.
Okay.
She has attacked you, black female. She has attacked Jocelyn Jackson, black female. Now you taking a dig at me as a consultant. Out of all the other contracts, out of all the other consultants that the city of Pompano has hired, why are you singling out those 3?
I mean,
according to the request, when you go up to speak, it asks for your name and your address. Now, if you're going to ask additional stuff from me, you better be prepared to ask for everyone. Because right now, you're singling me out.
Right.
And because you're singling me out, this is your pattern. When you're singling me out and you have attacked 2 other black females, what are you saying?
I mean, I have my opinions about why she do that, but I mean, I think people need to start asking those questions.
I am entitled. Number one, I'm a taxpayer.
Right.
Number 2, I reside there in the city of Pompano. And number 3, it's my right to speak my opinion when you are spending my taxpayer dollars because I live there.
Right. Well, this is something I do want to say. You know, she spoke about it being orchestrated. It seemed orchestrated by you coming up there. I'm asking you that because in full transparency, I played the video and you did go up and you are a consultant for the master developer. When she spoke about this seeming orchestrated.
Okay, let's talk about the public finance and the private finance. It doesn't matter which ways it goes. The developer's not gonna lose on either end.
Right.
Okay. Me asking for $100 million to be saved of my taxpayer money, nobody has to speak for me.
Right.
She stated that I should have gotten somebody else to go up and talk. I don't need nobody to speak for me.
When did she say that?
After she came to me after the meeting.
So not on the dais, after the meeting, she came in.
She came to try to talk to me. When you're up there clowning, as I stated, it's like we go to the circus. We got clowns that perform at every circus. And that's what the city of Pompano has turned out to be. I am embarrassed for people to come to the commission meetings because it's like coming to the circus looking for the clowns to perform. We can agree to disagree on everything there is, but we don't have to act like clowns every show. let's agree to disagree and understand that everybody has their own opinion.
Right.
And I have my opinion when you're taking taxpayer dollars out of my pocket, when I have to pay it, whether the developer there or not, that's still going to come out of my household.
Right.
And if you're as the commissioner and you're making those decisions of $100 million to be spent just because you can control, I said, power wise and penny foolish.
You said that. You said that.
And one thing about me, if I say it to you, I can say it to anybody else.
Right.
Nobody has to speak for Patricia. I stand 10 toes down on my own.
Right. You know, the thing that I want to make sure people understand is that there was an article that just came out, and there's been a lot of articles. I don't think a lot of people understand how much spotlight is being put on Pompano, and not in a positive way.
Nope.
Most of it because of what's happening with our political arena here. There's an article that just came out. I think it's the City Beat that just came out. And it talks about the financing. And with that financing, the $100 million savings that was voted against by 3 commissioners.
Right.
Okay. I want to play another video right quick, and this one is going to be quicker, you guys. But I want you guys to really hear stuff for yourself, because when I'm at the commission meeting, it ain't many of us in there.
Nope.
So I want you guys to hear what's being said alone. There's a video, the AF video, and we're going to play that video so you guys can hear for yourself what the vote was supposed to be. No, that's it say AF on it. Just scroll up, you'll see it. It say AF. But there's a video. You don't see it? Okay, no, because the AF video is short. I think that one is probably maybe 2-3 minutes. Because I want the vice mayor spoke about what the vote was about, you know, in all of this, everything else, but she spoke about what that vote was about, the financing, the public-private financing. And it spoke to just the vote, the public and private financing, because initially, the first reading,
She voted
for
the public financing.
For public financing. She was the 4th vote. And that meant Commissioner Perkins and Commissioner Fezzik voted no on it.
Right.
But it passed.
It passed.
Narrowly. Barely. Right? And then the second reading came. You know, a bit of civics, you guys, of how the policies and charter and everything is set up. You know, when it comes to anything dealing with the financing and budget and everything, there has to be 2 readings, and you have to get approval, majority approval for both in order for something to move forward. So at the second reading, she voted no.
Right.
Which defaulted the financing to private.
Absolutely.
Which is not
More.
any savings, and it's more.
It's more.
Does it take away money out of the developer pocket?
No.
Okay.
No. It takes money out of the taxpayer's pocket.
So why you think their commission? Why you think they voted that way? What reasons? I mean, they gave their reasons, but what is the reason to vote no on saving the taxpayers $100 million?
Right now, you have a select few. Their thing is to stop this development. And why would you want to stop a development that has been in the making for over 30 years? The late Pat Larkins started with some of these plans that's in place.
Yes, he did.
So if this downtown project has been in making in that long, I can remember the downtown area looking the same way it looks now when I left Pompano. And now, when they were doing the work over on the beach, you didn't hear the Northwest area open their mouth about nothing. Now it's time to do some work in the Northwest area, and everybody has something to say.
Yeah. Negative. Yeah.
You don't see that the Northwest area needs any work done. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to be a person on the opposite side of me, never lived in the area that I lived in, you don't look like me, you don't think like me, you have not had the struggles that I have had. You're going to come to the Northwest area and tell me what's best for me.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
We as a people can sit at a table. You have some very smart black people. Mm-hmm. You have
in the Northwest District.
Smart people in
You're
the Northwest area.
We got two of them sitting right here.
And you don't know what's best for you?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
That's where I'm at with this whole deal. You got a select few is upset because this money is being spent or supposed to be spent in the Northwest area, and they don't want that to happen. So they're going to kick and stream and turn flips, stand on their head, whatever they can do to stop this progress from going.
Okay, so you talked about their reason not wanting to spend the money in the Northwest, but then our own district commissioner voted no. What is the reason?
Well, when you are being bamboozled, someone is actually telling you something that's not true.
Yeah.
And you listen to, because you have been on the losing side for years, and now you have somebody that's going to vote with you and promising you certain things, you feel that they're your friend.
Okay, but you say you got people that's voting with and promising you. How do you know that they're
There's no rhyme or reason. These are my personal feelings.
Right.
Okay. But for you as a commissioner to vote for the taxpayers to spend more money don't make common sense at all.
Especially your district.
Our Commissioner Perkins has more to lose than anyone up there if this project do not take place.
Yeah. Our community,
our Northwest area has more to lose.
More.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you.
And if you read this contract that has been signed and in the hands of the developer, if, quote unquote, if by chance that this does not go forward, he still holds the land for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So you're saying if he don't give you 20 things that you're requesting, he'll give you 15 things that you're requesting. You're going to stop the project.
Speaking of requesting, the video of the commissioner, 25 seconds. I want to play that because earlier in our conversation, you spoke about your words, you spoke about asking the developer for money and selling your vote. I'm going to play this clip for you all because this was just one of the times that conversation came up.
So if I could just find a little bit of money out of this project, something, millions for the Northwest to put in a pot for us, then maybe I could lean a little bit and say, okay, well, let's, and that's what I've been trying to do. Because nobody's thinking about the community. Nobody's actually thinking about the people that live around.
Well, so that was out of the commissioner's mouth herself. And I do want to make sure you all hear that because you said that. You're a politician. You told me something I don't know. Like, why can't the commissioner ask for money for the community?
They can ask for money. They can ask for to support programs. They can ask to support different groups or organizations. They can't get personal money put in their pockets. They can't do that.
Okay. Well, I do want to address some of the concerns the community has, because I don't want to make this seem like this is all a glorious project and we 100% for this, because again, there are some decisions that were made prior to me getting involved in decisions, and we're inheriting
right
this project.
And that's why I went when the first question you asked about the contract, The contract was already written before I actually even started working with this developer.
Right.
And when I actually read the contract, do I feel that it was written one-sided? Yeah, I do. But because I have no control of that, that don't mean I don't want anything for the Northwest area.
Right.
I have no control over who wrote the contract, how it was written, and when it was put together.
We don't. We did.
It was already done.
Right.
Okay. And that's the same thing with the Northwest area. A lot of buildings that they're talking about was already torn down. They're already gone. So I can't fix that.
Right.
But what I can do is be at the table to speak up.
Yeah.
For reasoning that I feel is best for the community. Reasoning being because I came from Carver's Home. The city tore down the area where I was born and raised. And we were all displaced. 75% of the seniors that was displaced where I grew up, they died immediately thereafter. But because we have had this project in the making for 30 years, instead of us saying no, kicking and streaming, get to the table. Bring the community in. Let the community have a conversation to say what are some of the things that we want to need.
Right.
A select few that you have chosen. Why?
Right. Well, we had a workshop on the project, on the Civic building. And I have some images that I want to pull up here because you were at that workshop. And like all of these meetings have been public. All right. Other than, the developer does meet with the commissioners and the commissioners do meet with city staff. We've been workshopping what's been going on, how we want this project to go and what we want in it and what we don't. And part of it at that workshop, the amendments came up of the options, for Pat Larkins, how much money would go into the escrow, District 4 Commissioner Committee to allocate money. Like all of this stuff had been workshopped, right? We've been workshopping for months, this project, workshopping and discussing. And I said this to one of my guests before, I think it's Martinez Roll. I believe everyone should be heard. Yes, everybody deserves to be heard, but not everybody deserves an audience. And that's my stance because there has to be something of substance that you're saying. With that workshop, a lot was worked out, in my opinion, that commissioners were able to talk about what they liked, what they didn't like, and not just commissioners, public, because you spoke at that meeting as well. I did speak about the design, the initial design they sent for City Hall. It was like boxy. It was like a box. Right? Yeah. So I was like, that's all. Why ain't no curves or nothing in here? I need want to see something, little sexy, show me some curves. We, exit 36 around here, So, I noticed then when they came back, we seen a little curve put to it, right? So it wasn't that they weren't listening. It's just, it was the first time. And then there's going to be more input. But that workshop happened. Yes. Right?
It did. And the developer has been reaching out. He has been trying. Do I agree with 100% of everything that happened? No, I don't. But when you have someone coming to the table willing to have these meetings and sit down with you and have a conversation and ask you things, what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right. Well,
and I do agree a whole lot of money is going to be made on this project. I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely.
But the Northwest area cannot kick and stream and allow this opportunity to walk away.
No.
This been 30 years in the making. Yeah. And if this guy holds this contract for another 10 years,
that's another generation that will inherit poverty, slum, blight, crime, all of the socioeconomic issues that we have. We will be doing a disservice to future generations. I want to touch on that, grab that video, Steph. Do we got it? Okay, so we got that video. I want to make sure you all understand that the first reading of the financing, that was explained by our vice mayor of what it is. We're going to play that video of what our vice mayor said, what that vote was about in the first reading. So let's play that video.
Ready to be voted on that day, and some of them we can talk about. This is one we can talk about. So we are not making any substantive design decisions about the downtown today. That was on a different agenda item on May 14th. Today, the item is purely about how we fund the civic buildings that we are committed to building per the MDA that was entered in back in June with the prior commission. So we have, the way I see it, we have two choices. If we vote yes today, we issue public debt and it is much cheaper. If we don't vote yes today, Roca Point makes a lot more money and we spend a lot more taxpayer dollars on these projects. So we really don't have an option.
She said it.
And that is why she voted for it the first time. So, I mean, listen, our vice mayor is an extremely smart woman.
She is very smart.
She is a very smart woman. And no one can take that away from her. I understand why any commissioner, I remember Commissioner Soulful. I can remember the alignment with Commissioner Perkins at that time. And I can understand why Vice Mayor Foreigner is aligned and Commissioner Fezzik is aligned. I understand. I can understand people wanting to help. But the great white savior idea, for me, is played out. And she clearly outlined what that vote was about and then voted for it.
Right, but you come back to the next meeting and you vote against it.
Which caused it to fail.
What changed?
Well, the commissioner, what changed? I'm not going to say what changed. I think she did speak about voting for it on that one, but that she wouldn't vote if, certain contractors weren't let go, consultants weren't let go, if there wasn't some other things that she wanted to be done. But they were germane to the what was being voted on, right? But she had her reasons. It still cost.
It still cost the taxpayers dollars.
Yeah.
One thing about numbers, a liar can figures, but figures don't lie. That's $100 million. And the finance director has been telling them this since January.
Yeah.
And if you didn't feel those numbers was right, they used to have workshops. They used to be able to go sit down and have conversation. But they're not doing that. They want us grandstand.
Yeah. Well, I think that's been pretty much, how the commissions have been going. There's been a lot of monologues and a lot of, just three-way conversations. It's unfortunate, too, that our commission has 6. Like, I think honestly,
how did that happen?
Yeah, I think honestly, the vice mayor brought up at one point looking at the charter to create zoning to bring in another commission district so that there's not this even number and we don't run into this idea of something being 3-3. And a tie means it fails. Okay. The article from the City Beat. There is a lot that people are talking about because, again, this project is historic. It's transformative. It is going to change the community.
Every area has been taken care of but the Northwest area.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, at no point can I make this be about my feelings for me. And that's it's how I've been moving forward, because my feelings change every day. I done been in love with like 4 different people this year, you know, just on my feelings.
All right.
Patricia, so it's like my feelings gonna change, you know, but 1 + 1
figures don't lie.
1 + 1, you know, 2 + 2, 2 times 2, you know, all these numbers, they just got to make sense, and they got to make all the sense, right? And I don't make business decisions based on my personal feelings. That is the surest, finest way to lose money. And I know, let me tell you, I'm going to start a segment here. I said I was going to start a segment on how do you know you are, hey, Miss Octavia Martinez, shout out to our YouTube people on there. I said this, how do you know, I want to start a segment, how do you know you've been hustled by a politician? If a politician tell you they know how you feel, you probably been hustled. You probably been hustled. If a politician tell you they gonna stop traffic coming through your neighborhood and they win, and then they get in and the traffic still coming through your neighborhood,
you been what?
You've been hustled. You've been hustled. So I want to make sure you all know how politicians work. And it's important that we know, because politicians work for us. I don't know if our community understands civic engagement 101. Elected officials work for us.
Absolutely.
The people.
Yes.
Right? And the way our local government is set up, we elect them, our commissioners, every 2 years, a mayor every 4 years. Okay? When we elect them, they become the bosses to city staff. And not all city staff, per the charter, the only people that our commission have the ability to fire and or supposed to be speaking directly
and
to
hire.
are our city manager, not all the city managers, not the assistants, just the city manager, the city attorney, the clerk. So that's Greg Harrison, our city manager, the city attorney, Mark Berman, and our city clerk, my favorite guy, Kervin Alford, right? Those 3, they have the ability to hire, fire, and they speak directly. Anything else, anybody else in the city staff, conversations are supposed to go through the city manager.
That's
okay.
So
on the web for spell conversation.
The city manager is implementing the policies that the commission set in the daily running of the city. You know, the city manager runs the city, while city commissioners only meet every 2 weeks for city commission meetings and sometimes for our CRAs. Okay, so it's important for people to know that you're their boss, the boss of the dais. The dais then is the boss of 3: city manager, city attorney, city clerk.
I don't know about the city clerk, city attorney, city manager.
And
it's 3 of them, but I don't remember if it's the clerk.
We're gonna get that accurate. So if it's
but
not,
I know it's not the staff members that they've been beating up on.
Yeah, they've been taking a beating. The morale in the city staff is very low.
So low.
And I mean, listen, if you're in Pompano, and you know city staff, like send them some love, because it is really tough right now in the city when it comes to the morale. And I don't know about you. I don't like to be micromanaged. I can't be micromanaged, right? And what is happening, do you work better when you feel appreciated?
Yes, I do.
But if you don't feel appreciated,
drag every day.
You're going to drag every day.
Every day.
Hate to go to work. And I want to make sure, people understand that, hey, this isn't a game. This isn't us making up things. No. The morale in the city is low. There's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people scared if they're going to lose their jobs.
Mm-hmm. And this is every day. They're on pins and needles. Have you looked at their faces on the commission meeting? Look at the staff members' faces at the commission meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to watch because we are, we're a city that's overcoming a lot of negativity, a lot of adversities, a lot of history. No one has to tell us out here, especially if you grew up here, you from here, how far we've come, and how much work
still have a lot of work
we got to do. But we are in a position right now that I think this project, for me, I've been asking, this is supposed to be this project that brings this community together.
Hope.
But fear is being pushed.
And lies has been put out.
Yeah. Okay. Like what? What would be a lie you would say?
Oh, they're gonna bring a road through Kendall Green, and everybody's gonna have to move.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Wait. What now?
There's gonna be a road that they're gonna bring through there, and half the black people gonna have to move.
A road?
Yeah.
And through Kendall
for the tri-rail.
For the tri-rail. Okay. Listen.
Lies.
But this is what happens a lot in our community. Misinformation, the fear is being pushed and stoking fear in our community. Development
has nothing.
Development is not something we are familiar with, nor collectively are we educated on. And we got to, because I don't care where you go. If you're in a black community or Northwest community, you have a high concentration of low income housing, development is coming. Gentrification
is coming.
It's coming. It's how do we be the benefactors of the development and redevelopment that's happening in our community? And I've been saying this, when we talk about redevelopment, we got to be serious about financial literacy. Like I say, we're here in Legacy Financial Firm, and every Thursday night they're teaching financial literacy. It's something we don't have and we need to know, so that when the word gentrification comes in, we know, hey, we can afford it because we understand how money talks and how money moves. But because we're not being taught it and educated on how to invest properly, how to build wealth, then we're always putting ourselves like it's our identity to be in poverty. That's not our inheritance. Poverty isn't our inheritance, black folks. I don't know if nobody ever told you that, but let me speak life into you. You are a people of wealth. You are a people of love, infinite creativity and culture. You are a people that has an exponential amount of smarts and intelligence. Like, we got to speak that into us, because coming and telling me you want to keep giving me affordable housing is you telling me you want me to continue to pass on a cycle of poverty for the next generation. We deserve to live in luxury. We deserve wealth. We deserve opportunities, but we have to talk to each other about that. We have to make sure we are having these conversations in a way that puts us in the next bracket of where we want to be. No longer can we continue to talk about low income. Affordable housing, low income, there's 17 affordable housing in Pompano.
Yes.
9 of them in District 4
alone,
highly concentrated. So that means we have a high concentration of low income. Okay. And then there's a cycle of Section 8 being passed on from one generation to the next. A cycle of low income being passed on from one generation to the next. These are conversations we got to have amongst us, because it's not that we're doing it because, hey, we know there's something else to do. We haven't been educated on it. We don't see it, so we don't do it. Kids are only going to do one or two things. They're either going to imitate what they see or do the opposite. And if you don't see the opposite, how are you going to know? So someone says, yes, I think someone I know said they got a letter in the mail saying a canal is going through their yard, so they will have to move. I don't know anything about that. I think Aisha, send that, if you can find out where that is and who that letter, send that to me, because these are fear tactics. These are fear tactics. I want to make sure we are educating each other. Someone say they heard it being on 15. Okay, whatever it is, if it's coming, if it's not coming, if it's real, if it's not real, whatever, just let's have the conversation, because telling one group and not telling the other group and not having a full conversation about it continues to put out fear and sow misinformation about what it is. And then we don't know how to move. We don't know how to move. So listen, I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to speak to the people about what it is you want them to know about you, about this project, about where we're going. And shout out to Stacy Boynton with Studio US Living. Say thank you for breaking down the recent events at the commission meeting and clarifying the language and action of things happening in Pompano. Shout out to you, one of our educated. She's actually a Delta. I've been having a lot of Deltas jump on here lately.
Hey, listen, boots on the ground. We work.
All right,
not just walk around looking cute. We work.
Yeah, I know them crimson and red, crimson and cream. Yes. So, talk to the people. Okay. What do you want them to know?
First and foremost, like you stated, I was the former state representative, and as of November 2024, I'll no longer hold that position. But what I want this people in Pompano to know, or people in general to know, I am going to always speak up for the people. I'm always going to work for the people. That's part of who I am. I don't know any other way. And I'm not going to sit and let something happen in my community, in my neighborhood, that I'm not going to be able to say, we need better. We deserve better. And I know there's something could be done. I'm not that type of person to just walk away and I know I can help.
Right.
I'm going to always be there, 100%.
Right.
Anytime I'm in a conversation with anybody and I know I can help the people, I'm there for the people. That's just who I am. That's my makeup. I have always been in service since I was 14 years old. Yeah. So I'm built for this. Right. This is what I do.
Right.
And if I can do anything to help the community, if I can do anything to help even the commissioners that's serving there, if I can do anything to help them, help our community, by all means, I'm there 100%.
Right. Well, listen, I'm glad I was able to get you on and us to have a conversation. Listen, you got to come back, because this is going to be a continuous conversation. Don't roll your eyes at me, former state rep. I got one question I'm going to ask before I go. What? You hold your head. I got one question I'm going to ask before we go. And I think you know what I'm about to ask. Well, let me go ahead and throw it out there.
Throw it out there what?
It's an election year coming up.
Yeah.
Do you have any desire to run in the city of Pompano?
Listen, I have been on the ballot since 2008. I have been elected for 16 years. I'm tired.
You tired?
I love my people. I love my people. But I'm tired.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm open-minded about anything. I'm not going to say no at this point. I'm just open with whatever God say that I need to be doing.
Lord, your people need you, Lord. We got a pastor in there. We gon' go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. I didn't mean to do that.
Whatever the Lord has given me, whatever I have received on the political role, as I have traveled these past 16 years, it's not for me to hold it back. Right. So whatever I can pour into someone, whatever I can help to do, what I need to do to help the community, I'm there.
Okay. Listen, I want to make sure you all heard that yourself from our former state rep, former vice mayor and commissioner, Lauderdale Lakes. And I want to thank her for joining me. I also want to make sure you all go to the city's downtown page. There is a Q&A that just came out. I have it here. And it talks about what that vote meant, what it means to the community, and how the vote changed some things that was going to happen. It does not state nowhere in this Q&A that 3-3 stopped the project.
No.
It doesn't state that. However, it has questions. What did the city commission vote on regarding the downtown on Tuesday, June 10th? The answers are here. Why was there a choice between public and private financing? Can the vote be recalled or changed? If the vote isn't revisited and ROCA funds the project, can the city refinance letter if future city commission feels different? All of these questions, there's a list of questions.
And when I went up to speak, I didn't point my finger at anybody.
No.
I didn't call out anybody. I didn't say you was wrong or right. I said reconsider.
Yeah, that's what you did. That's what you did. I mean, we played it for the people. Listen, the Bottom Up Podcast is brought to you by the Roundtable Project. The Roundtable Project, we be putting on events out here, y'all. And guess what? It's July. In July 26th, to be exact, we got some promo we about to show y'all, because July 26th is national. Did you know this? July 26th is National Auntie and Uncle Day. So guess what the Roundtable Project doing? And we've been doing it now for almost a year. October is going to be a year. We've been putting on Auntie's Day out. And this one, we inviting the unks. The unks, we want the unks to come out because it's National Auntie. Patricia, you gotta come out, because we be vibe. We have a good time. We let our hair down. We had former Commissioner Cindy Floyd there and one singing for us. We do what we do when we get together, because nothing bring people together like some good music, some good food. We have a good little drink. We get it together. Auntie's Day out, July 26th at the Ally Cultural Center. Listen, if y'all looking for something to do, listen, this is a grown folks party.
Where's the Ally Center?
The Ally Cultural Center. It's on MLK Boulevard in the downtown project.
For your people.
Yeah, it's for us. Y'all come on now. Hosted by the big bodacious one, Rhonda, our comedian. I love her to death. Nikki, a.k.a. Nikki the Really Real, and me. We gonna have a good time, and I'm gonna tell y'all, Pompano, it's in Pompano, but it has not failed that Dilla and Lauderdale flood Pompano for Auntie's Day out. So this is a challenge, because I want to see some more Pompano people up in there. Shout out to Emmanuel Sneed and Kizzy, and them, they always coming through. I appreciate y'all. Listen, this is the Bottom Up Podcast. We talk about all things Black culture, politics, economics, wellness, history, all things concerning Black people. And we are hyper-local. So we keep talking about what's happening in Pompano and in the county. We got some more guests that's going to come through. I want to thank our former state rep, Patricia Williams come through. I'm invite her back. I come back. You gonna come? Okay, so she gonna come back, and we're gonna keep having these conversations. In the meantime, I started this to make sure you guys get a view of the culture that I love, Black culture, and what I see when I'm around. I had the honor and privilege to join the Holy Ones at the Givers Revival a couple years ago. Taekwondra Stevens, Lyric Ty, as y'all know her. Beautiful, beautiful spirit with an amazing voice. Y'all check her out, and I'm going to see y'all next Thursday, 7 p.m. If you have not already, set your alarm. We're going to have another guest, and it's going to be packed. It's going to be packed. Set your alarm, subscribe, and we're going to see y'all around. Bottom Up Podcast. We out.
When I think of love, I think of the war being over. Weapons of mass destruction finally being destroyed, one machine at a time. Because you are the one, Trinity, be my infinity. Never let me go far beyond the flesh that holds us. Let's encode our code into the cheat code. We so encrypted the way we slip in and out of spaces without folks knowing our IP address. Hell, we're intellectual property with the patent and the copyright. We so right that we could be white, labeled, franchise. Hell, baby, we're brand new to this side of love, that free love, that you're not my property, I don't own you type, cause I'm honored to know you. To be in your presence is a gift, because you don't owe me anything, and I don't owe you either. But I thank you for your time. I really want you to be my person.
I am a lover, come and discover. Foxes and wolves and birds and nests. When we in our zone, yo, we both can rest. Gon' rest. Joy and pain, sunshine and rain. Joy and pain, sunshine, and since it's gon' rain, we gon' be alright. Chillin' Jada the way I grew in pain. I wanna laugh like all this shit's a game. Let's play, let's stay, let's get high. All up in the stuff like we started in the sky. Light signs, love lines, written by the hands of God at one time, two times.
Tell me, Neo, will you come back for me? Or let me sleep in a bed of lies because you're too afraid to face your fears with us? There's no need to fight each other. Too many secret agents sent out to destroy us. We're not each other's enemy. We love God, life, time, and our family. Well, not all of them, but you know the ones that stood in the fire with you. Them Shadrach, Meshachs, and Abednegos. Our number one goal is to be free of all the negativity. Ain't no bad vibes around here. There's no need to fake it around me, because I know what it's like to feel like you can fly, but the system keeps trying to put you in boxes and cages. But we eagles soar anyways. We stand for something. We only fall on our knees to give thanks that we made it out the matrix. I mean, I said all that because, like, that's what I think about when I think about love. Like that type of love that